Of the many things I want to talk about, first, Jimmy Garoppolo. Folks, if I have to hear again all these doubters on Jimmy Garoppolo, how many times do I have to see a late game drive? This was another one on the road. Good team, Cincinnati, team that has a chance to make the playoffs. I don't know what people want to judge Garoppolo on. Is it envy over his perfect skin? I don't get it. He's secure. He's talented. He's got a nice arm. He doesn't have a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes or a Herbert arm. But I judge my quarterbacks on the ability to make big plays on the road, 2-minute drives. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is significantly better than Trey Lance today, and that's why he's fighting Trey Lance off. Listen, if Jimmy Garoppolo was just inches above Andy Dalton, then Trey Lance, regardless of how much experience he has, would be playing. That's why Dalton can't fight off Justin Fields. He's not very good. Jimmy Garoppolo, when given a reasonable running game, is a B to B plus quarterback. I would take Garoppolo over Kirk Cousins. I think he's in the same class as Derek Carr, who I like. By the way, you watch Dak. Do you think Garoppolo throws as good a ball as Dak? I do. What's Dak's record when he doesn't get over 100 yards rushing? He's a 6-17 all-time quarterback. Garoppolo leads the Niners to the win, keeps them in the playoffs. He is absolutely good enough to be a full-time quarterback in this league. If he never had an injury, they wouldn't have drafted Trey Lance. My thoughts on the Buffalo Bills lost to Tampa Bay. First of all, they have no quit. Buffalo is a great example that you can be a super talented team with an A coach and an A quarterback and an A defensive front. But you can't win a World Series with a bad bullpen, and you can't win a Super Bowl with a bad offensive line. In the second half, let's be honest, defensive linemen are not going to give you a sustained pass rush for 3.5 to 4 hours. By the second half, especially after a couple of those long Buffalo drives, the defensive line for Tampa was just gassed. But in the first half, when they weren't spent, when they physically still had the endurance, they dominated that Buffalo offensive front. So that's a problem that is going to keep the Buffalo Bills out of the Super Bowl conversation. It's not about the defense. It's not about the run game. It's about the ability to consistently pass block. If you look at a lot of the good teams just in the AFC, Cleveland's got a pass rush. Pittsburgh's got a pass rush. New England's got a pass rush. Tennessee's got a pass rush. Kansas City now has a pass rush. Buffalo eliminates themselves from Super Bowl contention because of that offensive line. And it goes back to something we've talked about many times. In this league, there's 3 things you have to do. Find a quarterback, build a fortress around him, offensive line, and then draft guys who get to their quarterback. That's what they've done in Tampa around Tom Brady. Some other thoughts on Urban Meyer. I said before, I didn't know if Urban Meyer would work, but I thought he was smart enough to work. It was just the reality. He's going to lose a bunch of games, and how long would he tolerate it? If Jacksonville was a 3 to 4 win team this year, I wouldn't have a problem. If they were a 6 to 7 win team in year 2, I wouldn't have a problem. There's a reason they had the first draft pick. It is the worst roster easily in the National Football League. But what you're seeing now with Urban Meyer is this inability to control his environment like he could at Florida, Bowling Green, Utah, or Ohio State. He's a control freak. This is one of the things I had a discussion with USC's athletic director and a couple of the boosters when they were looking to hire a coach. I said, be very careful about getting college football coaches who are control freaks. Lincoln Riley at USC is not. But Urban Meyer has lived in the tunnel of control his entire career. He controls the personnel. At times he controls the athletic director. He can control the school president. Well, that's just not the NFL world. Even Bill Belichick was forced to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. Even Bill Belichick has a boss. So I don't think it's that Urban Meyer lacks intelligence or football acumen. But this was something I think we all thought. Can he deal with millionaire athletes? NFL media is not as provincial as college media. Consider this. What if he was in Dallas, Atlanta, New York, Philadelphia, Boston? I mean, Jacksonville is somewhere between a college and a pro town. It's not really a pro town. By professional market standards, it's somewhere below Salt Lake City and San Antonio. So it's got a very friendly media, and he's still struggling with it. And, depending on the reporter or the report you believe, it looks like he'll get through the season. They're not going to fire him now. What's the point? You got a month left. But I think he's going to have a sit down. He's probably going to get an option to fire a couple of assistants, like Matt Rule was allowed in Carolina, firing Joe Brady. But I was told this as we entered the season by an executive. I had said on the air multiple times, I don't like his offensive coaches. He basically got guys, Darrell Bevell and Brian Schottenheimer, who'd been fired multiple times. The problem with Urban Meyer, he was not able to attract a first-class staff because of his lack of NFL background. Well, now ask yourself, what kind of staff is he going to attract, knowing if he doesn't win in year 2, they're all fired? So he will attract even a weaker staff if he is given by Shad Khan, the owner of the Jags, a little bit of a reprieve. I think Shad Khan, Urban Meyer sit down immediately after the season, and either it's a buyout or he's able to reorganize his staff a little. But I don't have high hopes for this working. It really is now a tire fire. Most of you did not watch Justin Herbert of the Chargers. He may have had the throw of the year for a touchdown against the Giants. And they're a better team than the Giants. The only question was how badly would they beat them. And the Giants had played pretty good defense over the last 6 to 8 weeks. Think about how hard it is to be a professional athlete. You have to be the best athlete in your town, often in a county. Then add in injuries, bad breaks, suboptimal coaching. It's virtually impossible to make professional sports. And then consider how hard it is to be a star. One of the things I noticed about Michael Jordan, middle of his career, he'd won 1 or 2 titles, was how effortless it was for him to drop 36 points in a playoff game. There was a million guys, it felt like, in the NBA that were 6'6", that could dribble pretty well, that had good mid-range jumpers. Michael wasn't the best ball handler at 6'6". Michael wasn't the strongest player at 6'6". He didn't have the prettiest outside shot at 6'6". But Michael made it look so effortless because he was so solid at everything. Kobe Bryant, similarly. There were players with better verticals than Kobe. Kobe didn't usually jam the ball with 2 hands. He didn't have enormous hands. He had great shooting range, but there were other players with better mid-range jumpers. But Kobe had an artistry. He made the game look so easy. That's what Justin Herbert does. You see no struggle in his game. Quarterbacks in this league get 6 to 8 layups a game, the easy throws, right? The sideline throws. Herbert never, ever misses his layups. So he builds in 6 to 8 completions every game. He has a huge arm, but he has the discretion not to use it constantly and overuse it. That's something Mahomes has had to learn. When you watch Justin Herbert play, and I don't know how good the Chargers are. I mean, I think we know there's 3 or 4 teams at the top. Tampa, Arizona, Green Bay. I think we know there's a series of really good teams below that. Tennessee, I think, is a really good team. The Rams are a really good team. I think the Chargers fall into that. But the thing that's intriguing about the Chargers, they have a new staff. And it was about this time last year that Tom Brady, with a new coach and a new system, caught fire. In the last 2 weeks with Brandon Staley, the Chargers are playing as good offensively as any team, including Tom Brady and the Bucs, in the entire National Football League.